Have you ever wondered why society seems so orderly, so fair, so perfect? Why people always say the right things, act polite, and preach morality? Yet behind the scenes, everyone is fighting for their own survival? Imagine a small business owner, let's call her Anna, who runs a local bakery. She believes deeply in fairness. She pays her workers full wages, reports all her earnings honestly to the tax authorities, uses high-quality ingredients, and abides strictly by health regulations. Meanwhile, two new bakeries open across the street. They pay employees under the table. No benefits, lower wages. They use cheaper, sometimes unregulated ingredients that cost half as much. They evade taxes by underreporting their sales. They run aggressive promotions using false advertising, all organic when it's not. Result: because of their lower costs and eye-catching prices, these unfair competitors quickly outcompete Anna, stealing customers with cheaper products and flashy claims. Anna's bakery, despite her honesty and quality, struggles badly. She might even go out of business. You might argue that adhering to the rules is always the best long-term strategy. However, in unregulated or weakly enforced environments, being dirty but clever can create fast rewards. Long-term, though, trust and reputation matter. Dirty players often get exposed, lawsuits, public scandals, etc. But by that time, the damage to fair competitors might already be irreversible. Or another great example from history: the fall of the Roman Republic. In the final century BC, the Roman Republic was built on rules. Strict laws about how long one could hold power. Checks and balances between different offices, consuls, senate, tribunes. Deep traditions of honor, mos maiorum, the way of the ancestors. Cicero, Cato the Younger, and many Roman senators believed in following the Republic's laws to the letter, preserving fairness and order. Meanwhile, Julius Caesar, Pompey, and Crassus realized something brutal. You could win faster by bending or breaking the system. Caesar illegally extended his command in Gaul. He bribed voters and ignored Senate orders. When challenged, he marched his army on Rome, something completely forbidden. He played the game of public emotion, offering land, debt relief, and promises to the masses, while quietly centralizing all power into his own hands. Result: the law-abiding defenders of the Republic were paralyzed by their own devotion to process. Caesar's adaptability and willingness to break the old rules crushed them. The Republic died, and Rome became an empire under a dictatorship. What this shows: rigid loyalty to fairness and process can lose badly when the other side adapts ruthlessly. Power often rewards those who play the new game, while others are still playing the old game. History moves when someone cheats the system successfully, for better or worse. As a Roman proverb says, reflecting bitter truth after the Republic's collapse: the law is a spider's web, strong enough to catch the weak but too weak to hold the strong. So what if I told you that the world you see is an illusion, a carefully crafted game where the elites and dynasties manipulate the masses into obedience while keeping all the power for themselves? This isn't a conspiracy. It's human nature, and it's been studied for centuries. From Han Fei's ruthless realism to John Nash's game theory, the truth is clear. People act in self-interest, but they disguise it with sweet words to maintain control. Today we expose the game. Part 1. The illusion of fairness. We live in a world of beautiful lies. Politicians promise justice, corporations pretend to care, and lovers swear eternal devotion. But beneath the surface, a brutal truth: everyone acts in self-interest. They just dress it up in pretty words. The hypocrisy of public morality. Take corporate morality. Companies spend millions on ads about sustainability and employee well-being. Yet behind closed doors, It's all about profit. Remember when a big tech laid off 10,000 workers right after posting record earnings? Or when a politician gave a speech about helping the poor, while quietly passing laws that benefited their billionaire donors? Why the deception? Because if people saw the system for what it really is, a ruthless competition for power and resources, they'd revolt. So the elites sell us a fantasy. Work hard, be kind, and life will be fair. And we believe it, because we've been trained to since birth. Family. The first betrayal. Even family, the one place we are told is built on unconditional love, is a battlefield when interests collide. How many stories have you heard of siblings suing each other over a parent's will, or marriages crumbling when money runs dry? Love is real, until it's tested by scarcity. Then, it's every man for himself. Courtship is poetry. Marriage, a contract. The sooner you accept that, the better you'll navigate it. The myth of meritocracy. They tell you, work hard and you'll succeed. But what they don't say? The game is rigged. For every self-made millionaire, there are 10,000 others who worked just as hard and got nowhere. The elites love the myth of meritocracy because it keeps you docile. If you fail, you blame yourself, not the system. Meanwhile, their children inherit empires, connections, and loopholes you'll never access. Fairness is the carrot they dangle to keep you running in the wheel. Wake up! The only fairness in nature is that everyone fights for survival. And if you think that's harsh, wait until you see how rulers have weaponized this truth for centuries. And now let's learn about this topic through the lens of history, where two famous theories share the fundamentals despite being 2,300 years away. Han Fei Zi, c. 280–233 BCE, the legalist philosopher, and John Nash, 1928–2015, the mathematician who developed modern game theory, operated in vastly different contexts, but their ideas share conceptual overlaps when viewed through the lens of strategic decision-making and human behavior. Han Fei Zi's theories, rooted in governance and control, implicitly address strategic interactions in a way that prefigures game-theoretic principles, while Nash's formal mathematical framework, particularly his equilibrium concept, provides a rigorous model for analyzing such interactions. Below, I explore how Han Fei Zi's ideas relate to Nash's game theory, focusing on their shared emphasis on self-interest, strategic incentives, and equilibrium-like stability. Part 2. Han Fei Zi's ruthless realism, the ancient blueprint for modern control. Before Machiavelli, before Sun Tzu, over 2,300 years ago, there was Han Fei Zi, China's most ruthless philosopher of power. Han Fei Zi assumes that humans are inherently self-interested and act to maximize personal benefits, e.g., wealth, status, or safety, while avoiding punishments. His system of law, Fa, statecraft, Sau, and authority, Shi, is designed to manipulate these motivations to ensure state stability and ruler control. This creates a strategic environment where individuals, officials, and the ruler interact, each pursuing their own interests under constraints. His philosophy of power. In an era of constant war, he saw through the illusions of morality. His conclusion? Human nature is selfish, weak, and predictable, and the only way to rule is to exploit it. He realized that people don't obey out of love. They obey because they fear consequences or want benefits. The best leaders make people think they're acting for justice, while secretly controlling them. Han Fei Zi's law of control was simple. Two tools shape all human behavior: reward and punishment. Not ethics, not love, not justice, just cold, calculated incentives. The modern rewards, illusions of generosity. Rewards are the velvet glove hiding the iron fist. Think about it. Why do governments suddenly cut taxes before elections? Why do corporations dangle bonuses when workers threaten to unionize? It's not kindness, it's strategic pacification. The packaging changes, but the game stays the same. Give people just enough to keep them hopeful, but never enough to set them free. Example: a general who wins battles is rewarded with wealth, but one who hoards power risks punishment. This mirrors a payoff matrix where players choose actions based on expected outcomes. The modern punishments: silent violence. And when rewards fail? Punishment is always waiting. Han Feizi called it the art of inevitable consequence. Han Feizi's ideal state is one where the ruler's absolute authority, backed by consistent laws, creates a stable order. Subjects and officials act in ways that reinforce the system because deviating, e.g. rebelling, yields worse outcomes. Example: when laws are enforced impartially, subjects comply because the cost of disobedience outweighs potential gains, creating a self-sustaining order akin to an equilibrium. Today, it's gentler but just as effective. You won't see executioners in the town square anymore. Modern elites punish with debt, unemployment, or social exile. The result? The same terrified obedience. The greatest trick: manufacturing consent. But here's Han Feizi's masterstroke. The best rulers make people want to obey. How? By convincing them it's their own idea. Ancient kings called it the mandate of heaven. Today, we call it hustle culture or democracy. The labels change, but the function doesn't. Keep people chasing illusions, and they'll never question who holds the leash. And after 2,300 years, the players wear suits now. But the game is ancient. Part 3. Nash Equilibrium. The Silent War of Self-Interest. John Nash, a very famous and a Nobel-prized mathematician, formalized game theory in the 20th century, building on earlier work by von Neumann and Morgenstern. His key contribution, the Nash Equilibrium, is a state in a non-cooperative game where each player's strategy is optimal, given the strategies of others, and no player can improve their payoff by unilaterally changing their strategy. Nash's framework applies to diverse scenarios, from economics to politics, where rational agents pursue their interests. Core elements of Nash's theory include rational players. Players are assumed to act rationally, choosing strategies that maximize their payoffs based on their expectations of others' actions. Payoff structures. Games are defined by payoffs, benefits or costs, for each combination of players' strategies, often represented in a matrix or mathematical model. Equilibrium. A Nash equilibrium occurs when all players' strategies are mutually optimal, creating stability because no one benefits from deviating alone. John Nash didn't just uncover a theory, he exposed the hidden algorithm running society. Every interaction, from love to war, is a game where players do whatever benefits them most, even if it destroys everyone else. Nash illustrated his theory by a simple example. Two prisoners in separate cells being interrogated. One betrays the other for a shorter sentence, only for both to lose. This is the Nash equilibrium. No one can win by changing strategy unless others do too. So we're all trapped in silent wars of self-interest. And the elites, they designed the game this way. Corporate theater, the fake cooperation. We care about the planet, says every oil company with a solar panel ad. But behind closed doors, they're paying politicians to kill environmental bills. Why? Because if one corporation unilaterally sacrifices profits, it dies, and the others win. Nash's math proves it. Ethical companies get devoured. Survival demands hypocrisy. Political puppet shows. Politicians play the same game. They'll posture as enemies by day, then pass the same lobbyist-written laws by night. Because if one rejects the bribes, their opponent gets the cash and crushes them. War isn't a bug in the system. It's a profitable Nash equilibrium. Love as a cold equation. Even love is a game of strategy. Why do people cheat? Why do divorces turn vicious? Because at the Nash equilibrium, betrayal often pays more than loyalty. So ask yourself, are you playing the game or just a piece on the board? A practical example. In the Qin dynasty, which adopted Han Feizi's principles, the state rewarded soldiers with land for battlefield kills and punished deserters harshly. This created a game where soldiers' best strategy was to fight aggressively. Knowing compliance maximized their payoff, land, status, while desertion led to death. The ruler's strategy, strict enforcement, and soldiers' compliance formed a stable equilibrium, aligning with Han Feizi's vision and resembling a Nash equilibrium where no one deviates. Part 4. The elite's greatest trick: manufacturing the illusion of fairness. The school of obedience. From the moment you're born, you're trained to believe in fairness. Schools don't teach you to question power. They teach you to obey it. Raise your hand. Wait your turn. Memorize answers. Never ask why the system exists. The goal isn't education, it's conditioning. Because the last thing the elites want? A population that realizes the game is rigged. The corporate fantasy. Companies sell the same lie. If you grind 80 hours a week, you'll make it. But the math doesn't lie. They call it hustle culture. Psychologists call it learned helplessness. Keep people exhausted and hopeful, and they'll never look up to see who's picking their pockets. The ultimate gaslight. The elites don't just rig the system, they convince you it's your fault if you lose. Can't pay rent? You didn't work hard enough. Trapped in debt? You should have chosen a better degree. This is the greatest trick in history. Make people believe their chains are jewelry, because the moment you realize the truth, the game ends. So, now what? How to play the game without it being played. 1. Wake up or stay asleep. Now you've seen the truth. The question is, what will you do with it? You have two choices: keep sleepwalking through the fairy tale, or open your eyes and play the game to win. Most people will hear this and shrug. That's just how the world works. And they'll go back to their 9 to 5, hoping for a promotion, trusting their government, believing in love. But you are different. You are awake. 2. The rules of power. If you're ready to play, here's the rule book the elites don't want you to read. Rule 1. Never trust, always verify. Words are tools, actions are truth. Watch what people do, not what they say. Rule 2. Control the incentives. Han Feizi was right. Reward loyalty, punish betrayal. And if you're not in charge, learn what the person above you really values and give it to them. Rule 3. Play the long game. The Nash equilibrium rewards patience. Sacrifice short-term wins for long-term dominance. The elites didn't build their empires in a day. 3. Become ungovernable. The final secret? The game only works if you believe in it. Stop waiting for permission. Stop begging for fairness. Build your own power, silently, ruthlessly. You don't need to be a billionaire or a politician. You just need to see the strings, then cut yours. Final call to action. So, what's your next move? Will you close this video and go back to the illusion? Or will you take control? Like this video if you're done being a pawn. Subscribe to Esoteric Quintessence if you're ready to play. And hit the bell, because the next lesson, it's even darker.